Hello, future millionaires. This is Aztec, and this is the CSC. Today, probably just give a little rant to the crypto community, Cardano community. I also want to talk about Africa in relations to Cardano and XRP, or Ripple, actually. Um, so, before I get into all of that, I just want to say again, thanks to all the people that are supporting me. I do see people commenting on my videos, liking them. I really like the engagement. I don't care if you guys disagree with me. I appreciate that you'll take the time to, take the time to just disagree with me and talk to me about it. I'm not against disagreement. I like to learn, and not only just learn in general, but learn how other people think. So, I also have, most of all the comments that I've received are very positive, and I'm really appreciative of that. And I've seen a lot of support. I have fans that have posted some of my videos on Twitter and also on just other social media platforms. But I do want to say thanks, because without you guys looking and viewing my content, engaging, I really don't have anything. So, anyways, in regards to the rant, I just kind of want to talk to everyone. I understand that I've kind of jumped in. I'm kind of new in a sense to, let's say, YouTube, not to crypto. I've been in the shadows of crypto for a long time. But I wanted to talk to the community about different platforms that are out there. For instance, I see a lot of people on Telegram or different social media platforms just kind of arguing, bickering about whose platform is better, and things like that. And what I want to say to everyone is that there's a lot of room for all of the projects that are out there, to succeed, to have, a part in this whole cryptocurrency world, this blockchain world. Basically, you'll see people say, well, Cardano is going to take over Bitcoin, or Ethereum. Ethereum is going to be beat out by Neo, things like that. And of course, there's always a possibility in crypto, anything can happen, guys. But what I find interesting is that, if you just look around the world, guys, it's kind of like saying, Walmart is going to take out, Target, or Target's going to take out Walmart, vice versa. Another analogy could be like, Chase is going to take out Bank of America, or Bank of America is going to take out Chase, either way. Another analogy, for gamers, you could say, well, the Microsoft Xbox is going to take out the PlayStation, or the Sony PlayStation, And when you really look at it, guys, there's, all of these different analogies, they all, even though they're competing, they're these projects or platforms, institutions, entities, whatever you want to call, each and every one of these things that I've kind of thrown out here, they all are part of their own ecosystems. They all compete, but they exist together. There's people that are just going to like certain projects more than the other. For instance, with from a developer standpoint, people are going to be more comfortable developing on certain projects just because, let's say, the programming language is something that they understand versus, another newer programming language that's out. People are going to identify with, like, investors and just people in general are going to like a project because it identifies with themselves, and kind of like, their goals or things that they would like to see change. And, for instance, like me, I've already said Cardano's, my favorite project. I really identify with Cardano because it seeks to create change in the world in the developing markets and really help people that don't have needs like the developed world already has. So I really find that to be a very great goal, to help your fellow man out kind of thing. But beyond that, I like the technology of Cardano and I like the community and things like that. So, it just in general, Cardano is, the project that I like. Do I think it's the best project? I'm not saying it is. I kind of think, I guess I kind of view it personally as my favorite project, the best in my eyes. But, it's not necessarily going to give me the most gains, things like that. I do come from a trading background, so a lot of you guys, you're going to hear me talk about gains. You're going to hear me kind of talk about money and things like that. I'm not I don't come from a tech background. I'm not a developer. I come from the medical field. So, I'm not going to be, let's say, as technical as other YouTubers out there, but please understand that my view on everything is it comes from kind of more of like an investor and a trader's standpoint. But anyways, in general too, the different projects, I really don't like to see everyone fighting, in the crypto communities and all that, because it doesn't make sense, guys. It doesn't make sense. So I think that we should all be encouraging each other. We should, when we see another project making advancements, we should be happy for that project, even if it's, a competitor to a project that you're heavily invested in, because in the long run, I really believe that it's not going to be about the individual blockchain or project. It's going to be about, the internet of blockchains and how they all work together, interoperability, that kind of thing. It's not going to be, one to rule them all necessarily. So that's just kind of my 2 cents there. And, I had a couple of people talk to me recently to kind of talk about another rant that I have. They were saying that they posted some of my videos and people were looking at the title. Now, I want to make a comment here. I do post like clickbait type titles because I do understand human psychology, and I want to bring people to my videos because I believe, even though they might not be the most technical, because I'll be one of the first people to say this. I'm learning. I don't come from a developer type background. So I'm learning, but the one thing I can say is that I'm very knowledgeable just because I've been in this space for so long. And, I just really want to help people out there. I want to kind of share my ideas, let people into my mind. So to people that are bringing this up to me, I don't care what people think. I'm going to keep developing. I'm going to keep sharing. And I hope that I help people. I don't really care if people look at my videos and kind of judge them for kind of like judging a book by its cover type thing. I encourage everyone to actually watch my videos and look at the content and the topics that I'm talking about. So anyways, I know I've taken a lot of time talking about all this, but I do find this very important. Now, on to Ripple and Cardano here. So Africa, this is a huge part of the cryptocurrency world. I think that a lot of projects are going to continually seek to take a portion of the demographic in Africa and try to find developers and create applications that assist Africa and things like that in the future, because it's basically a very ripe market. it has a lot of development needs in general, just not necessarily from the blockchain type of standpoint. Just it needs people to develop technologies to help with many different types of categories. So I really believe that they're going, Cardano's and Ripple, they're not going to be the only projects that are, going to Africa to create. So, knowing that, to kind of set the mood, I do want to say that there is a lot of kind of confusion about what's going on in Africa, from a Cardano standpoint. So I got my note cards again, guys. I'm just going to kind of, read over some notes that I have here, and some of the key points that over the last year that I've noticed that Cardano's done or accomplished in Africa. So one of the things that I've noted is that IOHK and the Ethiopian government agreed mutually and signed MOUs to train and hire software developers for Cardano development in its agriculture industry. So this is huge because they'll be able to, just the other day we saw Walmart come out and they were even expressing a need to hurry up and bring blockchain to their produce, So, I believe that a lot of projects are going to be trying to solve this type of issue. But in general here, this is big because Africa needs someone to come in and kind of help track the produce and the agriculture, and help, develop applications for this process. So this is a big thing that IOHK is heading. Another thing is in Rwanda, Cardano is basically setting up a digital blockchain for property register to identify land using GPS coordinates. Accordingly, the property owner can be verified and the ownership can be transferred at a minimal cost. So, if you know anything about, owning land or property, if you've ever sold a house, how much cost it goes, into, closing, acquiring possibly like a realtor to help you find property. And there's all the paperwork that, is transferred between a buyer and seller. And in general, in Africa, there's a real need to help, the government and the people know who owns certain property. So Cardano's looking to kind of fill this void and help bring, applications to solve this issue so that, person A knows that they own this piece of land, and if B is looking to purchase this land, they'll be able to exchange it for, minimal cost. And in general, no one will be able to say, I own this land, if person A owns it, already, because it will be listed on the blockchain. So in general, this is another huge project. Also, I've noticed that Cardano has been producing classes for Haskell, which is basically the programming language of Cardano. And they've another thing that's kind of interesting is they've not only looked to create classes for men, they've also looked to create classes for women, to be involved. This is a big thing. I know this might not be big for everyone, but I personally believe everyone should have a shot, when it comes to providing and creating. It doesn't matter, what color you are, your sex, all that stuff. So I do find this, I do appreciate the fact that Cardano is looking to diversify the project, and they're not looking to just make it, for one sex. Anyways, also they're doing a lot of meetups all around Africa. You have Nigeria. There's meetups in Nigeria, Tunisia, Kenya, Ethiopia, Rwanda, just to name a few of the countries there, that they're doing meetups at. And this is also great because this kind of shows that Cardano has kind of like a head start over a lot of other projects that may be moving to Africa, because they're not just making partnerships with people. They're also going out, shaking hands with the locals, and empowering them with classes to be able to learn how to develop on Cardano, and educate about what Cardano is and what blockchain is, things like that. So with this being done for all throughout 2018 already, I find that this is probably one of the most important fundamental things that Cardano is doing in Africa. So just another thing, but all of this, these are just a couple of the things that are out there. You can go ahead and go online. You could go on Google and search, Cardano in Africa, to kind of see more. But these are some of the key points that I see that's happening and that has happened, accomplishments for Cardano. So I'm very happy to see all of that. Now, this news just came out a couple days ago, and I found this interesting because I'm a huge proponent of the Cardano project, and basically Ripple is also moving to Africa. Now, I do want to kind of, after I talk about some of the key points here, I do want to give my opinion on it. And this excites me, guys. Again, like I said, I like competition. I like competition because it breeds, further development. When people are competing, basically, cost goes down. People innovate, and this all falls, kind of trickles down to the investors and the users of technology. And, in general, just competition is great. So I don't see this as a bad thing. Now, basically, the news was that Flutterwave announced that it's joining the Ripple net, and they're basically going to integrate blockchain into its global payment system. So this was kind of big news. It came out. A lot of people that are into Ripple, or that are investors in XRP, were very excited about this. Just kind of let you guys know, if you don't know, RippleNet is basically blockchain and software platforms designed to transfer money internationally quickly, safely, and cheaply. Flutterwave is basically, they're a firm that has more than 50 African banks as partners. They process payments for other companies like Booking and Uber. So they're a pretty big player in Africa. They've only been out for a couple years, but they've made a lot of headway. I've noticed that they have many other partnerships, and they're basically a contender in Africa. So for Ripple to partner with Flutterwave, it's a pretty good thing, a big thing for Ripple. Now, one thing to note about this is that Flutterwave is going to use Xcurrent, and Xcurrent does not use the XRP token or ledger. So this is important to note because basically it doesn't, it kind of inadvertently helps or pushes the price of XRP because of speculation, but not specifically, for instance, because they're not using XRP, they're not creating demand for the XRP, currency, and it's really important to know that because it's not directly affecting the price of XRP, but it's still a really big thing because there's if you're an XRP holder, you'll know that a lot of these banks or institutions that are using or that are a part of XRapid, there's a pretty good chance and possibility that they will switch from XRapid over to from Xcurrent to XRapid, which at that point they would possibly use the XRP currency. So anyways, my take on this, it's great that I always like to see innovation. I like to see partnerships for all projects. I find this to be great for the crypto world in general, and I really as a Cardano guy, I like it because it shows that Cardano's on the right track. Cardano's because especially when XRP is really, they've really aimed their sights on institutions, banks, the banked basically. So for XRP to now kind of also look to start working with the unbanked, this is kind of huge, and again, it kind of solidifies the fact that Cardano is on the right track, and that they see that there's merit in going to the undeveloped areas of the world and trying to use blockchain. So instead of going further into this, because I've taken so much time on this video, I want to know what you guys think about this. In general, everything that I've talked about today, what do you guys think? And let me know. Do you guys think this is a bad thing for Cardano? Do you like competition? Do you think this is good for crypto in general? And everything, guys. Just please stay positive, guys. I guess if I'd like to end this video on a note, I'd like to say, in general, try to stay positive. Try to understand that all these projects are moving the needle, of the cryptocurrency world forward, legitimizing us as a community, and let's work together basically. So anyways, guys, I hope you're hope you're all doing well. Don't ever give up on the future of money. Take it easy.